Hello diary, it's Wednesday 10th of November and just going to review what happened on Tuesday. We are just about to leave Shillington, by the way, which is in Pennsylvania. Yesterday the plan, which was executed quite well, was to leave New York City and pick up a car in Philadelphia. So the idea was to get an Amtrak, which we did, with only a few minutes to spare, I have to say. But then we're very good at catching trains at the last moment, at least my wife is. We got on the Amtrak and got out at Philadelphia. Now, we were going to just pick up the hire car, but it was so much less busy and such a nice day, we thought we'd stay in Philadelphia for a little while and just walk around the town, which turned out to be a very good idea. So most of the day was spent walking around the town of Philadelphia, and we saw lots of things. I think Philadelphia is not too rich a city, but there's a lot to see, and the people seem quite cheerful. Despite being a little bit windy, it wasn't nearly as cold as it was in New York. We went to see the Liberty Bell, which is an American icon. We popped into the Polish American Museum. We had a nice cup of coffee and some soup and some sandwiches in a local cafe. We tried in vain to find the murals, which apparently exist somewhere along the line. We didn't do any shopping, and eventually we went back to the railway station, to the Hertz desk, and picked up our Cadillac STS. So we got in the car, checked it over, didn't seem to be anything wrong with it, although there did seem to be rather a lot of buttons. And the idea was that we were going to drive west. Is that right, darling? West? Yes, we were driving west and do a little bit of shopping. Now, it became clear that the shopping malls closed at 9. We checked on the internet and the shopping malls closed at 9. So we thought we'd cut our losses and not go to the malls that evening, which turned out to be a good idea. We managed to pop into the Sportster REI, and after yet another gentle, persuasive lecture from one of the staff, we did in fact join the REI club. So we're now REI shareholders. We paid our $20, and we get discounts on future REI purchases. And of course now we're thinking, why didn't we do that earlier? Anyway, so we had a nice trek around the REI sports shop, and then we were on our way to Shillington. Now, the Cadillac STS has got lots and lots of buttons inside the car, and we didn't have time to read the manual, which turned out to be a bit of a mistake. Firstly, it's a very wide car, and it's got some controls. There's a button that we found out eventually which tells you if there's anything too close to the left or right side of the car, and there's also a button that tells you if you are sort of dozing off and you are touching the white lines on the side of a lane. Now, because the car's so wide, it's quite easy to touch the white lines, and I wasn't sort of falling asleep, but the alarm sort of kept going off, so eventually we managed to switch that off. We were told by the lady at the desk there wasn't a GPS or sat-nav, which in fact is completely untrue. There is not only a GPS and a sat-nav, there's even a box which contains a DVD, and it seems to be a DVD. I shall have to post a photograph because no one's going to believe this. It seems to be a DVD of America, excluding the states that we're in. In other words, maybe there were 2 DVDs in the package and someone's hoofed off with the one that we need. So we had to rely on our little Nokia booklet with its inbuilt GPS, but that relies on having a 3G phone connection started to get the GPS operating. So it was all a bit fraught, and this is a long-winded way of saying that we were about an hour or 2 hours late to get to the hotel because I made numerous driving errors. Normally we'd need to get off the motorway at a certain junction, and it wouldn't be quite clear how to get off the motorway. We'd end up going off the wrong exit or the wrong part of the exit, and we'd either end up going down the same motorway in the opposite direction. Anyway, it was certainly a great relief when we ended up in Shillington, a lot later than we expected. We'd been to a food court to get some emergency food supplies, which turned out to be useful because after 10 o'clock basically there's nothing open here. They said down the road there was a Kentucky Fried Chicken at McDonald's, but we weren't that desperate. So with some vegetable V8 and some chopped turkey breast, we settled in for the evening. So that was our Tuesday, November the 9th, and we are very happy to report it's now Wednesday. We think that today we're going to do a spot of shopping and hopefully find the Amish. So let's go.